So let's try this again. My 4-year-old loves to intervene on my videos. So, we will be reading 4 articles regarding Binance, 1 from California, and then obviously 2 from Celsius, because the video earlier was with Celsius. Supposedly, sorry, she was coming in here, so I kind of stopped for a second to see if she was. Celsius was in the process of filing for bankruptcy or thinking about filing for bankruptcy, but now they have fully filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy out of the state of New York. So with that, guys, let's get started. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell on Twitter. And yes, I do know how to pronounce certain words. However, I have multiple sclerosis, so sometimes my brain says another word that doesn't necessarily sound right, or it could be a normal word and I just get it wrong. But please keep the hate comments to your guys' self. That would be appreciated, because we are all about love, and I do not let my multiple sclerosis stop me. So instead, I am leaving the video up, and it will just be with that. So we will get started after this intro. Binance burns another $444 million worth of BNB, and this was written today. By the way, these are articles that were written this afternoon or some point today. So these are still relevant. Cryptocurrency exchange Binance has announced completing the 20th quarterly burn of its native token BNB, which is probably the reason why I saw a thing on my phone that says Binance was up 6%, but I didn't put 2 and 2 together. So now that I'm reading this, I'm putting 2 and 2 together. According to the official blog post, nearly 1.96 million BNB, around 444 million, was burned in the process, marking its 3rd quarterly burn through the relatively new auto burn feature. Ooh, they have auto burn. The previous BNB burns reflected the token's usage and revenue generated in the Binance centralized exchange. However, it was replaced by BNB auto burn, a move with which the platform expects to make the process more objective and clear to the community. The introduction of BEP95 in November 2021 set the stage for Binance BNB auto burn mechanism in a bid to burn BNB tokens faster. The 20th burn comes amidst significant turmoil in the market. BNB's price also suffered from the rapid declines over the past couple of months. At the beginning of the year, the native token was trading above $500. The price has declined by about 60% since then. The exchange's CEO CC reflected on the bearish impetus haunting the market and stated, quote, "During this downturn and all market cycles, our goal is to continue building and investing in the industry and projects to spur adoption and further infrastructure growth. Historically, bear markets have been great periods for focused on long-term minded builders. This time, we continue to be bullish on our capability to support founders looking to build, innovate long-term solutions for our industry," end quote. Pretty interesting. BNB has a auto burn feature. I've never actually heard of it, but I don't really know very much about BNB. I should get more with it. In terms of BNB, I know at one point in time it was trading for pretty well sum of money, but again, I was just looking into it when it was way too expensive, And maybe now I should look into it since we are in a bear market and Xander and I plan on not going anywhere. So this next one is for everyone here in California. Xander and I live in the middle of nowhere, California. So this is hindering us, or could potentially hinder us or hurt us. So I will read this, written by Jordan Lionchev. Californian authorities to investigate platforms offering interest on crypto assets. The last couple of months have been quite a roller coaster for DeFi and CeFi aficionados. I have issues saying that word too. Between events like the continuous Celsius Network saga or the can of worms opened by Three Arrows Capital finding itself in hot water. It's not at all surprising that similar platforms would come under regulatory scrutiny. However, the approach taken by the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, or DFPI, differs as it asks exposed consumers to submit tips to help them build future cases against platforms halting or slowing customer withdrawals. A formal complaint can be filed with the agency's assistance. In a statement released on the 12th of July, the DFPI stated that following recent inquiries into the behavior of BlockFi and Voyager Digital, who were issued cease and desist orders, as the two platforms were found to be dealing with unregistered securities. As a result, the DFPI believes customers were not adequately informed of the risks taken when depositing money on the platform. Additionally, banks and other institutions dealing with securities are required by law to have deposit insurance legislation that the DFPI believes the two named platforms breached. Quote, the purpose of securities registration in part is to ensure that investors receive all material information needed to evaluate whether to enter into these crypto interest account arrangements, such as risks being taken with deposited funds. The department is investigating whether other crypto interest account providers are violating laws under the department's jurisdiction, end quote. Although Celsius Network was not mentioned in the statement, the agency made a follow-up post on Twitter, which also mentioned Wrapped Luna, directing consumers affected by the Celsius fiasco to submit a complaint with them. And here this is by the DFPI. For now, the DFPI has refrained from committing to a firm position on whether crypto assets should be legally considered securities or not. They have, however, requested consumers affected with withdrawal freezes to contact them via email or a toll-free number. Clients are also advised to include their transaction history, records of communication with the staff of the platform, information on the token and blockchain involved, as well as any other relevant screenshots. As the current bear market continues to drag on, more regulatory bodies can be expected to make similar statements attempting to shield consumers from platforms that may have given insufficient attention to measures designed to protect users and platforms alike from unforeseen market forces. In the meantime, it's important to remember the first rule of investing: do your own research, which is why we say it at the beginning. Crypto lender Celsius declares Chapter 11 bankruptcy in New York, and this is from The Block. Crypto lender Celsius has declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy, court filings show. The firm declared assets between $1 billion and $10 billion, with an equal amount in estimated liabilities, according to the Chapter 11 petition. Celsius claimed more than 100,000 creditors in its petition. The petition names Pharos USD Fund SP and Pharos Fund SP as its largest unsecured creditor, with an unsecured claim of approximately $81 million. Other named creditors include ICB Solutions, the King Group LLC, Alameda Research, B2C2, and Caverio AG, among others. In a statement, Celsius said it, quote, has $167 million in cash on hand, which will provide ample liquidity to support certain operations during the restructuring process, end quote. The firm is being represented by Kirkland and Ellis LLP per the petition. A total of 8 Celsius-related entities are also declaring bankruptcy. And we can see these. Pharaoh's USD Fund SP is $81 million. And we have others here. Founded in 2017 by Alice Mashanky and Daniel Leon, Celsius offered retail investors attractive returns on their crypto holdings under the slogan Unbank Yourself. The company, which moved its headquarters from London to New Jersey last year, had grown to manage more than $10 billion in assets and claimed more than 1.7 million users. But this year's crypto market slide left Celsius insolvent, and on June 12th, it froze client withdrawals, transfers, and swaps. As the block reported last month, Celsius lawyers had been pushing for it to enter Chapter 11 bankruptcy for a while. While the company's executive attempted to avoid it at all costs, the firm had instead sought a show of support from app users to help win the internal argument. Amid the tension, the Wall Street Journal reported this week that Celsius had replaced its legal advisors. Chapter 11 bankruptcy allows the company to continue operations while meeting its obligations to indebted parties. This is usually executed by proposing a plan of reorganization to be approved by creditors and overseen by a legal team. Since halting withdrawals in June, Celsius woes have mounted, with state regulators in the U.S. reportedly lining up to investigate its business practices. This week, the Vermont Department of Financial Regulation said Celsius representations about the safety of consumer funds were untrue and accused the company of engaging in an unregistered security offering, which we will read in this last news article, by offering cryptocurrency interest accounts to retail investors. The state of Celsius finances has scared off potential saviors. The block reported last month that crypto exchange giant FTX looked at making a deal with the troubled firm, but ultimately walked away after finding a $2 billion hole in its balance sheet. Wow, $2 billion is a lot. Quote, "This is the right decision for our community and company," Mashansky said in a statement. Quote, "We have a strong and experienced team in place to lead Celsius through this process. I am confident that when we look back at the history of Celsius, we will see this as a defining moment where acting with resolve and confidence serve the community and strengthen the future of our company," end quote. So this is the filing, as we can see here, for bankruptcy. So pretty sad. Last video I said it was probably going to happen, but now we know it is happening, and this also came out today on Crypto Potato. Celsius engaged in an unregistered security offering, alleged Vermont's financial regulator. Pretty sad. Another U.S. state just launched an investigation into the firm. The U.S. state of Vermont's Department of Financial Regulation, DFR, has leveled serious allegations against the troubled crypto lender. In a recent statement, the DFR said it believes Celsius is deeply insolvent and the firm does not have the assets and liquidity to honor its obligations to account holders and other creditors. The DFR also argued that Celsius Network has been operating in multiple jurisdictions, including Vermont, and claimed that the firm has been engaged in unregistered security offering to retail investors. It also pointed out that Celsius does not have a money transmitter license and might have been operating largely without regulatory oversight. Citing these concerns, the department announced teaming up for a multi-state investigation of Celsius. It also noted that the claims made by Celsius and its CEO about the customer funds safety, that word looks really weird to me right now, funds safety, as well as the lender's ability to meet withdrawal obligations, are also false. In mid-June, Celsius halted all withdrawal swaps and transfers between customer accounts as it battled the financial crisis. The lender laid off some 150 employees shortly thereafter. It onboarded restructuring consultants from an advisory firm, Alvarez and Marsal, in a bid to preserve and protect assets. Quote, Celsius has not disclosed adequate or complete information to the public to enable investors to make informed purchases and sales of CEL. Investors who purchase Celsius tokens are taking a risk that those tokens will sharply decrease in value or even become worthless in the future. Concerted efforts to manipulate the price of Celsius may also violate state and federal laws, end quote. Celsius has not exactly been transparent and has taken the confidentiality route to avoid bankruptcy. As a result of its refusal to disclose its financial records, the lender lost $6 billion in liquidity assistance from potential investors. Earlier this month, a blockchain analytics firm Arkham Intelligence speculated that Celsius might have used client funds to execute high-risk leverage crypto trading strategies. In addition to Celsius Network, several crypto lenders, including Voyager Digital, have come under financial turmoil. The U.S. California's Department of Financial Protection and Innovation is now looking into multiple companies with interest-bearing crypto asset accounts. Customer offerings that could have failed to adequately disclose risks consumers face when they deposit crypto assets on their platform. Pretty interesting that now this is all being looked at, that everything's taken a shit with. But I'm really, really not surprised at the same time. So just beware of what you look into. Do your own research, like we always say on this show. And have a good night, guys. And if anything else happens, of course, we are trying our best to get on it.